We kick off from the Horn of Africa, Ethiopia to be precise. African heads of state and government assembled in Addis Ababa for the 37th ordinary session of the African Union plenary. The DRC, Rwanda, Ethiopia responding to coups. Divisions between member states have been racking the African Union, and the rifts appeared to widen during the organization's summit last week. And to add to the myriad of concerns was the ongoing war between Israel and Gaza, where the leaders openly shamed Israel over its cruelty on Palestinians living in the Gaza Strip. Here's a report.
It was a two-day event in Ethiopia's capital, Addis Ababa, where African heads of state converged for the annual summit. Africa is wrestling with coups, conflicts, political crisis, and regional tensions. Ahead of the gathering in the Ethiopian capital, the AU Commission head raised an alarm at the violence gripping many nations, both within Africa and outside.
Our main challenges have not diminished. Peace, political and institutional instability, climate change, deficits in economic governance, integration, poverty, the marginalization of women and young people in development processes, and leadership in our political and social systems remain our main sources of concern.
The développement et de leadership dans nos systèmes politiques et sociaux.
The political upheaval in Senegal also took center stage, with leaders urging Macky Sall, the Senegal president, to come up with a solution for deadlock over the election postponement.
The
situation in Senegal, a model country in terms of democracy, worries us to a great degree. Our fervent hope is that it will soon return to the path of wisdom to resolve its institutional crisis in accordance with the principles of the rule of law and the fundamental interests of its great people.
I wanted Senegal and all of us in Africa to cross our fingers and pray that Senegal remains a role model, because it is a source of pride for Africa. That is to say, the other countries, unfortunately, that have had 60 years of independence and have fallen into free fall. Well, we have been on the rise for 49 years, but we haven't yet won it.
Tensions between the Horn of Africa rivals Ethiopia and Somalia boiled over on the opening day of the Addis Ababa summit. The two neighbors, already at odds over a controversial maritime pact, locked horns over Somalia's claims that Ethiopian security tried to block its president Hassan Sheikh Mohamud from accessing the summit venue.
This morning here in Addis Ababa, this morning when I prepared myself to come and attend the closed session of the summit, the Ethiopian security has blocked my way. They refused me to come out of the hotel and go on with my cars and entourage to come to the sea.
But the ongoing war in Gaza was the highlight of the summit. African leaders took the opportunity to call out Israel over its relentless pursuit of Hamas, with civilians paying the ultimate price. The leaders were unanimous. There should not be any offensive in southern Gaza.
The most flagrant case is that of Gaza in Palestine, literally razed to the ground. Its people almost exterminated in the physical integrity of tens of thousands of its inhabitants, humiliated in their dignity and stripped of all their rights.
What is happening in the Gaza Strip to the Palestinian people does not exist in any other historical period. In fact, it happened when Hitler decided to kill the Jews.
A quarter of Gaza's residents are starving because of the war, which began with Hamas's assault into Israel on October 7th last year, in which militants killed about 1,200 people, mostly civilians, and abducted around 250. Israel is defiant and is continuing its assault on Gaza. Prime Minister Netanyahu says his forces are doing all they can to spare civilians and is only targeting Hamas militants. During last year's AU summit, an Israeli delegate was unceremoniously removed from the plenary hall amid a row over the country's observer status at the continental body. The summit concluded with the unveiling of a statue of Tanzania's founding father, Julius Nyerere, outside the African Union headquarters in Ethiopia. Nyerere led what is now Tanzania from independence in 1961 until 1985. He played a key role in the creation of the Organization of African Unity, which later became the African Union. Bureau Report, WION World is One.
For latest news, download the WION app and subscribe to our YouTube channel.